Hey, darlings. That's it. I'm asking for a divorce. I'm tired of you, said Alexei in the middle of a fight that shocked his wife. How can you say that? I'll do everything for you. Marina could barely contain the tears that flowed and couldn't believe what she heard. I have another one, and, unlike you, she is successful, said the unlucky husband, telling his wife that he has a rich mistress, with whom they have been secretly dating for over a year. What about me? What about our son? He needs a father, and it's crazy that little Maxim grows up in an incomplete family and feels different from other children. And these are no longer my worries, my dear. Maybe you even walked somewhere on the side. It was simply convenient to hang it around your neck. What are you saying? You know that I love only you and have always been faithful. No, I don't know, and I don't want to know anything. It's over. I'm asking for a divorce. While Marina remained in the kitchen, sobbing over what had happened, the man hurriedly packed his things in a suitcase and went to his rich lover. Mom, why are you crying? Asked little Maximka, running into the kitchen and seeing that his mother was starting to cry. It's okay, son. I was just cutting onions, she replied, not wanting to initiate the child into adult problems. Where did Daddy go? Father? He went on a long business trip. Don't worry, dear. He loves you very much and promised to come back soon with gifts. Marina decided to lie, afraid of upsetting her son too soon. After sending Maxim to the children's room, the woman could not hold back her tears, painfully accepting what had happened. It seemed like the entire world had lost its colors, literally empty in an instant. Her old life fell apart because she lost the only person she felt good about. The couple spent almost 7 years married, but now all that is in the past and she should get used to it, somehow get used to it. Sometime later, Alexei, as promised, filed for divorce. Minor legal delays passed quite quickly, as a result of which the marriage was officially dissolved. It seemed that, according to the law, the ex-husband should pay alimony, but no matter what they say about the laws, in reality everything is not as smooth as it seems. Realizing that it was extremely difficult to survive without her husband's support, Marina was forced to give up the cozy 3-room apartment that they had been renting all this time. Working as a nurse in a private medical clinic, the woman simply could not afford this amount, as she needed to think about the future, support herself and her child. Several days of searching yielded results, and Marina found an advertisement for rent for a cheap 1-room apartment. Of course, the housing was more than modest, and the woman could hardly imagine that she would ever have to find herself in such conditions. Old, shabby furniture and not entirely intact wallpaper created an unpleasant impression, but Marina still could not count on more money, and the owner of the apartment, Galina Vasilyevna, seemed to her a very sweet and friendly woman. After discussing all the details, Marina, having no better choice, agreed to rent and even made an advance for the first and last month. The son, despite being only 5 years old, reacted to the change with incredible understanding, as if realizing how difficult it was for his mother now. Having no children's room for toys, Maximka was not upset, because now his mother was always much closer than before and devoted all her free time only to him. It seemed that life, albeit gradually, was improving. Marina learned to get on with her life. She learned not to think about her husband and to manage on her own. But the next morning she made it clear that her problems didn't stop there. "Are you really late again?" asked the head of the surgical department angrily. "Good morning, Mikhail Andreevich. Sorry, I was a little late because I had to leave my son with someone, and I had to ask my neighbor about it. Every time you have some kind of excuse. Either my son got sick or the trolley bus broke down. Aren't you tired of lying all the time?" The man really exploded. His pestering with Marina was constant, and she knew very well that the reason was his refusal to date. The man, who was well over 50 years old, was clearly not to the young girl's taste. So Mikhail Andreevich harbored a personal grudge and now would definitely not let her work, even as an ordinary nurse. "Sorry, it happened like that. I'm going to change my clothes now and get to work. I promise this is the last time. Of course, the last one. After all, from now on you no longer work here. You will come and collect your payment tomorrow, pack your things and go wherever you want, the man said angrily. Her action, as well as her scream, which spread throughout the room, shocked those around her, but no one dared to defend Marina, as everyone was afraid to leave work after her. Without giving up hope, the next morning the woman went to a nearby clinic, but was flatly rejected. Marina was surprised by this, but from the conversation she realized that the manager had also tried here and issued a wolf fine, literally expelling her from the world of medicine once and for all. "Hello, Marin. We need money for the current month," said Artem, the apartment owner's son, from the door. "Hello. Come in. I'll bring it now. How are you in general? Is everything okay at home? Maybe you need help?" "It's okay. You don't need anything," Marina replied, searching the room. In fact, everything in the apartment was not as in order as she said. The tap leaked and the extractor fan was weak, but the woman was frankly tired of the excessive attention from the owner's son. He repeatedly showed sympathy and even invited her on a date, but Marina was clearly not ready for a serious relationship. At the same time, she perfectly understood that Artem was far from someone with whom she could build a future and think about a family, because despite being almost 35 years old, the man had never worked anywhere. Essentially, he is a slacker who wants to connect his life with some woman for fun, but Marina has completely different interests. Artem, of course, is a little needy here. Work is tight at the moment, but I promise, next month I will return everything for a penny. I hope that Galina Vasilyevna will understand me and not be angry, Marina replied, looking down and afraid to look at the man, feeling embarrassed due to the lack of money. "If you want, I can report the missing part and you can go out to a cafe with me." Did you like this idea? A man with a short criminal past and a suspended sentence for vandalism as a student suggested a way out of the situation. "Artem, I'm sorry, but I'm not in the mood for this. I need to look for a job to resolve all financial issues. Let me sort this out and we'll come back to this subject in a few months, but not now." "Fine." Marina carefully stayed away from the subject. She would like to openly refuse Artem, but she did not dare, fearing that the man would accept the refusal with hostility and do everything to make her mother throw her out on the street. "Okay, I understand you. I'm patient, so I'm ready to wait and I'm sure I'll win your heart." Artem winked with a smug smile, admiring the charming woman. He always had a special affection for short, dark-haired girls, but Marina was ideal in every sense of the word. A small, slender, elegant young woman, whom I would never have given more than 20 years old, literally drove the man crazy, and he was ready to wait, even a month, even a year. At the same time, this didn't stop him from getting involved with more approachable girls who failed to interest him for more than a few nights. From the next morning, entrusting her son to a retired and good-natured neighbor, Marina went out looking for work. The young woman wanted to find a place at the hospital, but soon realized that she would not have this opportunity thanks to the director and his connections. Having rejected the idea of finding a job in the medical field, the woman called several advertisements and, fortunately for her, signed up for several interviews. From the first meeting, she was incredibly lucky, as the owner of the trading company turned out to be a very easy-to-talk-to and pleasant person. The man was polite and courteous, even though Marina had decided to just work as a cleaner. From the first days, the new girl was received with obvious positivity, as Sergei Alexandrovich recruited personnel for himself. The team turned out to be very friendly, and the cleaning lady's work is appreciated here, as it creates a favorable working environment. The first month of working at the office seemed very easy, which Marina didn't expect. Convenient work hours and the opportunity to leave early to be with your sick child, a good salary and respectful attitude in the team. How can you dream of something more? It seems that this is the ideal place, and even if the salary is not high, it is never late, but Marina soon realized that not everything is so ideal here either. "Who is it?" Marina asked one of the office employees, drawing attention to the tall, grumpy brunette arguing with her boss. "Ah, so this is Olga, our boss's wife. They've been together for about a year, maybe a little longer. I don't know how he tolerates her. She is insufferable as a leader and in general is, to put it mildly, an unpleasant person. As soon as I fell behind the elderly woman, I thought I would be the first to run away from the office, just to not see or hear her," replied the employee, making a face as she looked at the woman who was screaming and went to her place of work. "It's strange, she seems like such a nice woman," thought Marina, continuing to wash the floor. A few minutes later, she saw Olga jump out of the office and head towards her. The cleaning lady tried to jump to the side so as not to disturb the woman, but she made a big mistake when she accidentally hit a bucket of dirty water. "What are you doing? Brainless?" Olga exploded. Dirty water ran from his expensive suede boots. "Sorry, it happened by accident." "I can clean your shoes," Marina replied guiltily, afraid to look up and look at the boss's wife. "Do you have any idea how much they cost? Your annual salary will not be enough to reimburse the costs. I'm going to talk to my husband and stop you from ever setting foot in this office again. You klutz." "Please do not. I have a small son and he gets sick often," replied Marina, almost crying, wanting to fall at the woman's feet and beg her not to tell her husband what had happened. "I don't care about your circumstances. Either you work well or you don't work here. You understand me? Remember, I will be in charge here, and if you upset me again, you will fly out of here like a cork from a bottle." Olga huffed angrily and then went to the bathroom. "Yes, I managed to contact her," thought Marina, realizing that such an unpleasant situation with the boss's wife could end badly for her. Despite what happened, working in the office of a trading company made Marina happy. The boss did not offend him with his salary, which made it possible not only to meet the minimum needs, but also to pamper his son with an expensive radio-controlled toy. It was possible to buy it not only thanks to effort, but also to integrity. A few days earlier, Marina, while cleaning the bathroom, accidentally discovered a dropped wallet. Noticing a credit card with the boss's name on it, the cleaning lady immediately turned to Sergei Alexandrovich. To celebrate, he not only thanked Marina, but also gave her a bonus worth half her monthly salary. It seems that everything is fine with Marina, but Olga remembered again. Not being in a good mood, the woman confronted the cleaning lady again, which led to insults from her. Marina realized that this man loved to oppress his subordinates, proving his "I," and tried not to object, silently listening to Olga's dissatisfaction. Despite this, the second meeting did not leave the best impression. In fact, Marina did not suspect that this unpleasant woman was demanding of her not only because of work, but also simply out of envy. The new cleaning lady was very sweet and charming, and with her appearance Olga became jealous of her husband, although he never gave a reason for this. A few weeks later, what Marina least wanted probably happened. Sergei Alexandrovich went on a long business trip, leaving his wife in his place. Considering that no one else would be able to handle this better in a few weeks, the company owner entrusted the reins to his wife, believing that nothing bad would happen. To say that Marina was shocked and depressed is an understatement. This seemingly short period of time became real hard work for her. Olga Nikolaevna picked up the cleaning lady and other subordinates for every little thing. Any offense became grounds for a fine, and Marina became the center of attention of a woman who dreams of getting rid of her at any cost before her husband returns. Hoping to somehow find a common language with Olga Nikolaevna, the cleaning lady decides to put the office in order, preparing it for the boss's return from lunch. While tidying up, Marina washed the floors and cleaned the windowsills and work tables, apparently transforming the office into a cozy, sparkling corner of cleanliness. After finishing all the work, The cleaning lady took a garbage bag out of the basket when it suddenly ripped and all the contents fell to the floor. She will definitely fire me, thought Marina and, trying not to panic, began to hastily collect the trash, among which she noticed a pregnancy test. "Is this possible?" asked the cleaning lady when she saw that the test was positive. It seems that this is so surprising, but just a few weeks before the incident, she overheard a conversation between colleagues and found out that Sergei Alexandrovich could not have children due to a serious illness he suffered when he was a teenager. After carrying out a simple analysis, Marina realized that Olga was cheating on her husband, having clearly become pregnant by someone else. After getting ready, she ran out of the office so as not to meet the boss's wife face to face at such an inconvenient time. At night, returning home, Marina couldn't sleep, thinking a lot and doubting whether she should tell her boss. He still needs to know the truth, the cleaning lady thought for a moment, but then began to doubt, realizing that by doing this she would not only destroy someone else's family, but also become a direct participant in the scandal. After spending almost the entire night tormented and thoughtful, Marina still realized that infidelity is something that cannot be silenced. Not so long ago, she herself was in Sergei Alexandrovich's place and was extremely upset that she became a victim of betrayal. Another factor in favor of the truth was that the boss is a very kind and pleasant person. Marina simply felt offended by the man they were playing with. For a few days, the cleaning lady tried to find a way to contact her boss, but was embarrassed to ask directly for his cell phone number, as this could lead to unnecessary conversations within the team. Luckily for Marina, she managed to find out the director's number when she saw it on a pizza box ordered in his name. "Hello, Sergei Alexandrovich. I apologize for disturbing you. This is Marina, your cleaning lady." "Hello, Marinaka. Yes, I recognized you by your voice. Something happened?" asked the director, clearly not expecting such a call. "I don't know how to say. Here. You understand? You. Well, speak immediately and openly. It's much easier. Besides, I don't have much time, so you better get to work. The fact is, I was cleaning your office and found a positive pregnancy test for your wife. I wanted you to know that," Marina replied and remained silent, hearing only silence in response. Turning pale with surprise, Sergei Alexandrovich could not say a word for another few seconds. Not wanting to discuss his personal life with the cleaning lady, he hung up without answering. "Yes, what did you really expect? I suspected her for a long time," said the man to himself, who had long suspected Olga of infidelity. After learning about the pregnancy test, he understood everything, but decided not to cancel the business trip, as the business trip was too important for his business. Having decided to keep silent about this, Sergei Alexandrovich tried to continue to communicate discreetly with his wife, temporarily postponing the process until the moment of a personal meeting. "Well, you were caught," Olga said loudly, taking the cell phone of the employee who reported her missing from Marina's bag. "It can't be. They planted it on me," replied the cleaning lady, knowing for sure that she didn't take something from someone else and, in principle, is not capable of such a thing. "I don't want to hear anything. You're fired. Get out of here and quickly," the woman replied with a smile, continuing to rule her husband's company with an iron fist. Marina, without responding because of the tears streaming from her eyes, grabbed her bag and ran out of the office. She understood perfectly well that all this time the boss was simply looking for a reason to fire her and, apparently, finally achieved his goal. It was all false, but it didn't make it any easier for the woman, who had to leave the office in disgrace, with no opportunity to recover the money she had earned in recent weeks. Soon Sergei Alexandrovich, not knowing anything about what was happening in the office, returned home. While his wife was working, the man decided to check the CCTV cameras installed in the house and its perimeter. In one of the recordings from a week ago, Sergei Alexandrovich notices Olga in the company of a handsome man. It seems that he managed to figure out the obvious, But his wife was upset not only by the fact of betrayal, but also by the fact that Vladimir, her comrade and business partner, was her lover. It was he who insisted that Sergei go to an important meeting that would determine the fate of their joint business. "How can you do this to me?" asked the furious husband, showing Olga the video recording. "You forced me to do this. But he really loves me and knows how to take good care of me. And if you want to know, in bed he is also much better than you," said the wife without hiding the truth and with a defiant laugh on her face. "How vile and vile you are," came out of Sergei's mouth, disappointed in his wife and realizing that there were only enemies around him. "Watch your language, otherwise you could end up in prison," the wife threatened. "For what? Since when can we not tell the truth?" Sergei smiled. "They may not arrest you with words, but with these documents, very much," replied Olga, showing on her cell phone several photographs of forms, agreements and powers of attorney with her husband's signature. Sergei recognized them because he feared for these documents and even hid them at home. Of course, he tried to conduct business honestly, but in reality, not everyone can stay clean. Without being guilty of this, Sergei signed some important documents that allowed him to significantly save on taxes. "Oh, where did you take these photos? And it doesn't matter anymore. You are no one else, and I don't need to report to you. Do you think Volodya just sent you on a business trip and asked you to solve all the problems?" asked Olga, continuing to mock her husband, saying that in these few weeks she and her lover managed to remove almost all of his company's assets. Taking advantage of the permissiveness, she transferred money to Vladimir's account through a shell company, and even in such a way that there was no evidence of real theft. "My lawyer will sort everything out and you will answer for it," Sergei replied, trying not to show emotion, but he realized that Olga was not afraid of this. "Do what you want, but your business is mine now, and if you try to rock the boat, I will send incriminating evidence to the tax authorities, and you will go to jail, and for a long time." Afraid of losing not only his money, but also his freedom, Sergei left, leaving Olga still with her own home. Realizing that at one point he had lost everything, the man began drinking, spending almost all of his money on alcohol. In a moment the man lost everything. It seemed like the whole world had turned its back on him. Despair took over Sergei's mind, and at some point he thought about taking his own life. "Just one step and I'll leave. No problem, nothing," he thought, finding himself in a bar not far from the bridge. "Sergei Alexandrovich? And you?" Marina asked, noticing a familiar face in the crowd of smoking men. "Hello, Marinaka." "Yes, me," replied the unshaven man, with rumpled and not entirely clean clothes, shyly lowering his eyes. "What happened to you?" she asked, without expecting a whole avalanche of unpleasant facts from the life of a man dedicated to both his wife and his partner to fall upon her. "So now I'm a beggar," Sergei summed up his story, almost shedding a stingy man's tear. "You know, it seems to me that I have a solution to your problem, but I need to meet with someone," she replied, supporting her former boss and reminding Artyom with his criminal past. Soon Marina and Sergei met with Artyom, telling him about the problems of a rich loser. It seems like a millionaire, a cleaning lady, and an ex-prisoner could have in common. Everyone was united by their desire to see justice done and, after discussing what had happened, they came up with a plan to return the stolen funds and the company. Having found some dysfunctional friends who were ready to do anything for a dozen crisp bills, Artyom and his comrades entered the house while Olga was at another meeting with her lover, stealing incriminating documents. Sergei, realizing that his freedom was no longer in danger, contacted a lawyer and promised a good reward if he managed to achieve justice. Once the documents were prepared, the lawyer sued Olga and, despite all the scammer's attempts to justify their actions, he won the case, forcing the ex-wife and her lover to fail. At the same time, the business returned to Sergei's hands, which allowed him to pay generously for Artyom's services, which actually gave him a second chance at a comfortable life. Soon Sergei and Marina had their first date. It seems that a step taken out of gratitude cannot become the beginning of something bigger, but not in this case. Sincere in their feelings, Marina and Sergei admitted sympathy for each other and, realizing that it was mutual, decided to start a relationship. Despite this, the woman did not take advantage of her position and simply asked to be returned to her place as a cleaner, although she could easily have taken the position of assistant, secretary, or some mid-level manager without having the appropriate training. Now the lives of our heroes have returned to normal, but in the final meeting with Artem, Sergei discovered something strange. The man had exactly the same big mole as him. Without thinking twice, he suggested that Artem take a DNA test, during which it became known that they were twins, separated in childhood due to financial problems in the family, which is why Sergei grew up in an orphanage without knowing his family. Realizing that Artem was not a stranger to him, the company owner took him to his office. This allowed the former prisoner to not only get involved in shady matters, but also stay on the white side. A year later, the rich man and the cleaning lady got married, and 9 months later, the couple had a wonderful daughter, Ksenia.